She told me, when he calls me wifey, it's just an inside joke. You're making it weird. And I remember standing there in our kitchen, holding a grocery bag in one hand, feeling that weird mix of embarrassment and dread you get when you know something is wrong, but you also know the person you love is about to make you feel crazy for noticing it. I didn't want to be the jealous boyfriend. I didn't want to be the insecure guy who ruins a relationship by accusing his partner of cheating when she's just living her life. So I tried to do the mature thing. I tried to talk to her calmly, like adults, and I tried to believe her. And for a while, I almost did. If you love full Reddit-style relationship stories with betrayal, consequences, and that quiet revenge where the truth catches up fast, do me a quick favor before we dive in. Hit the like button, subscribe to channel, and drop a comment telling me whose side you're on. We're pushing for our first 100 subscribers, and every single like and sub helps YouTube actually test these videos. Alright, here's what happened. I'm 30, I work in IT, the kind of job where your brain is always halfway in problem-solving mode. I'm not flashy, I don't love drama, I'm not the guy with a million friends or an exciting social calendar. My idea of a good weekend is a quiet morning, coffee, gym, a hike if the weather is good, a movie at night. Predictable, I guess. But I always thought predictable was a compliment in a relationship. Like you can rely on me. I show up. I keep my word. I don't disappear when things get hard. My girlfriend, Leela, was the opposite energy. She worked in marketing and she was good at it. She was that person who could walk into any room and make it feel like a party, like something fun might happen. She had a laugh that pulled attention. She always had some new idea, some new plan, some big opportunity or event. She could talk to strangers like they were old friends. She was bright, spontaneous, and very online. She lived in stories and captions and little moments that looked good in photos. We met 3 years ago at a friend's rooftop barbecue. I showed up because my friend basically dragged me. Leela was there because she knew the host through work. I remember she was wearing a simple black dress and sneakers, and she was sitting on the edge of the group like she was taking a break from being social. I sat next to her because I didn't know what else to do, and she made some joke about how rooftop parties are always 3 degrees colder than people expect. I laughed. We started talking. By the end of the night, we were in that bubble where the party becomes background noise and you're just talking, leaning closer without noticing. The first year felt like a good partnership. She made my life bigger. I made her life calmer. When she got overwhelmed, I was the steady place. When I got stuck in my head, she pulled me out. We moved in together after about 1.5 years. The apartment wasn't fancy, but it was clean and nice, and it felt like the next step. We signed a lease together in a city I didn't grow up in because she got a better job offer there. It was one of those, if I say no, she'll resent me moments. But I didn't even hesitate because I loved her and I thought we were building a future. Relocating wasn't small. I transferred within my company, which sounds easy on paper, but it meant leaving my routine, leaving my gym, leaving my friends, leaving my family being a short drive away. It meant starting over socially, and I'm not naturally good at starting over. Leela thrived in it. New city, new people, new events, new connections. Meanwhile, I was the guy setting up the internet, dealing with utilities, figuring out parking permits, finding a new dentist, all the boring stuff that makes life run. And I didn't mind. I thought that was love. Somebody handles the ground so the other person can reach higher. The money piece matters too. Leela wasn't irresponsible exactly, but marketing can be unstable and she'd have stretches where she was between contracts or her commission wasn't coming in yet. I covered rent more than once. I paid her student loan payment twice when it hit and she panicked. I didn't lecture her. I didn't keep score out loud. I just wanted us to be okay. She'd kiss my cheek and call me her rock and tell me I was the reason she felt safe. And then about 6 months ago, something shifted. It wasn't one big moment at first. It was small, like a temperature change in a room. Leela started mentioning a guy from work named Mason more and more. At first it was normal stuff. Mason is hilarious. Mason saved the presentation. Mason is so chaotic, but it's funny, that kind of thing. I didn't care. People have coworkers they bond with. I have coworkers I joke with. Then I noticed she was texting him outside of work hours. Like not just quick, tomorrow at 10 messages, but ongoing conversation. And I noticed the way she smiled at her phone. I tried not to be weird. I tried to ignore it. But the first time I actually saw the word, it hit me in the gut. We were sitting on the couch, half watching a show, and her phone lit up on the coffee table. The preview popped up and I saw "Good night, wifey" ring. And for a second I thought my brain misread it because it didn't fit the picture I had of our relationship. But it was right there. When she came back from the kitchen, I didn't accuse. I didn't raise my voice. I just said, "Hey, can I ask you something? Why is Mason calling you wifey?" She sighed like I asked her to explain gravity. "Oh my God, it's a joke." "A joke?" "Work joke," she said. "Like work wife. He calls me that because I basically keep the team organized. It's not romantic, it's just stupid work humor." I remember how she said it. Confident, dismissive, like the conversation was already over and I was the problem for bringing it up. And that's the thing. If she had responded with, "Yeah, that's weird, I'll tell him to stop," it would have ended right there. But instead, she made me feel embarrassed for even asking. I let it go. I told myself I was being sensitive, but it kept happening. He texted her at odd hours. She'd laugh during our movie nights and type back quickly. She started tilting her phone away a little, not dramatically, but enough to be noticeable. It made me feel like I was sitting next to her while she was somewhere else, like I was the background. Then it went public. She posted a photo from a team happy hour, her and Mason sitting close at a table, drinks in front of them. The caption said something like "Work wifey duties ring face," and the comments were people joking that they looked like a couple. And what bothered me most wasn't the post itself, it was the fact she liked the comments. She fed it. She didn't shut it down. She enjoyed it. I brought it up again, gently. I said, "Hey, the whole work wifey thing, it doesn't feel great. People are literally calling you a couple in your comments." She didn't even look up from her phone. "You're reading comments like they're a courtroom transcript. Relax." "Leela, I'm not trying to control you. I'm telling you I feel disrespected." She finally looked at me and her eyes narrowed. "You're being insecure. That's what this is. I can't be responsible for your insecurities." That was the first time she used that word on me like a weapon. Insecure. It shut down the conversation. Because how do you defend yourself without sounding insecure? After that, the little dig started. Mason became the comparison point. Mason is so spontaneous. Mason always has ideas. Mason got the team tickets to this thing. Mason is the kind of energy we need. She'd say it casually, like she wasn't doing anything wrong, but it landed like she was measuring me and finding me lacking. And I did what a lot of people do when they feel their relationship slipping. I tried harder. I planned a weekend trip. She acted excited, then 2 days before she said she couldn't because a work thing came up. She started coming home later and later. Networking, client dinner, team brainstorming. And it was always plausible enough that I felt like an idiot for doubting it. One night I found a receipt in her car from a fancy restaurant we'd talked about going to someday. 2 entrees, 2 cocktails, dessert. Over $200. We hadn't been. When I asked her about it, she said client dinner, but she didn't say who, and she didn't offer details. She just got annoyed that I asked. The more I asked, the more she framed it like I was the problem. "You're interrogating me. You don't trust me. You're controlling." She was turning my reaction into the issue instead of the behavior that triggered it. And then I overheard her on the phone with her sister. She was in the bedroom with the door half closed, and I was walking down the hallway and I heard my name. That's always how it starts. You don't plan to eavesdrop. You just catch your name and your brain locks in. She said, "Alex is great, but Mason just gets me." And the wifey thing is our little thing. It's harmless. Harmless. That word made my stomach twist because it meant she knew exactly what she was doing and she didn't care. She was enjoying the thrill of it. She liked having a stable boyfriend and a flirtation on the side. And she had convinced herself it was harmless because she wasn't the one feeling humiliated. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't want a fight fueled by emotion. I wanted clarity, so I watched. I listened. I paid attention. I started noticing patterns. Her mood when she got a text. The way she dressed on certain nights. The way she'd pick little fights with me right before going out, like she needed to paint me as the bad guy so she could justify whatever she was doing. Then came the Friday night, where she didn't even pretend anymore. I came home from work and she was already there, pacing in the living room. Her phone was in her hand, and her face had that rehearsed look people get when they've been practicing a speech in their head. "We need to talk," she said. I set my bag down. "Okay." She crossed her arms. "I've been thinking about us. This isn't working." The way she said it was so calm it was chilling, like she was canceling a subscription. I asked, "What do you mean?" She sighed dramatically. "You're stable, sure, but I need more excitement. I need passion. I need someone who challenges me." I already knew what was coming, but hearing it out loud still hurt. "And Mason is that." She didn't deny it, she actually nodded. "Mason and I have gotten close, really close." "How close?" I asked. She tilted her head like I was slow. "Don't do that. Answer me." "A couple months," she said. "We've been seeing each other." My chest tightened, but what shocked me wasn't the confession. It was the attitude. She wasn't guilty. She wasn't scared. She was proud. "He makes me feel alive," she continued. "With you it's just routine, comfortable but boring." I stared at her. I couldn't believe she was saying this after everything. After moving for her, after covering bills, after supporting her through job instability. And the wild part is, she anticipated that argument because the second I started to speak, she cut me off. "Don't make this about money," she said. "You always do that. That's not love. That's obligation." I said, "It's not obligation, it's partnership, and you used me." She laughed, short and condescending. "Used you? Oh my God, this is why this never works. You keep score. Mason doesn't." There it was, the upgrade speech, the fantasy, the new guy as the embodiment of what she deserved. Then she said the most disrespectful thing of the entire conversation, like it was a reasonable compromise. "You don't have to move out right away," she said. "You can stay on the couch until you figure out your next step." I blinked. "You want me to sleep on the couch in the apartment I pay for while you date the guy you cheated with?" "It's not like that," she said. "Mason is coming over in a couple days so we can all talk and clear the air, make it less awkward." Clear the air, with her affair partner in our home, like I was the obstacle. I felt something in me go quiet. Not anger, not sadness, just this cold clarity. I realized she wanted a reaction. She wanted me to plead or explode so she could point to it and tell everyone, "See, he's unstable, he's the problem." She wanted to feel justified. So I didn't give her that. I nodded slowly and said, "Okay." She looked almost disappointed. "Okay." "Yeah," I said, "if that's what you want." She narrowed her eyes, suspicious now. "Fine, I'm staying at a friend's tonight. We'll deal with this later." She grabbed her coat and left like she'd just won something. I sat there in the quiet apartment and I let the reality settle in. I was in a city I moved to for her, in a lease we signed together, with a life that suddenly felt like it belonged to someone else. I felt sick for a few minutes and then the sickness turned into focus. Because I realized something. If I didn't handle this calmly, it would become a mess that haunted me for months. She already showed she was willing to rewrite reality. I needed to move with intention. So I started doing what I always do when life goes sideways. I made a plan. I opened my laptop and I listed every shared account, every bill, every subscription, every device, every piece of furniture I bought, every payment I made. I checked my bank statements. I saved receipts. I screenshotted confirmations. I documented everything, not because I was plotting revenge, but because I knew the kind of person who says you're insecure, while cheating is also the kind of person who later says, you abandoned me, and makes you look like the villain. That weekend, while she was gone, I packed, not dramatically, quietly, methodically, like someone moving out of a place that already stopped being home. I packed clothes, shoes, my work equipment, my gaming setup, my books, my toiletries, my files. I took the coffee maker I bought, the blender, the cookware set, the air fryer, the vacuum. I took my desk and my chair. I took the TV because I had the receipt. I took the router because the internet was in my name. I didn't take things out of spite. I took what was mine. I also canceled anything that was on my card. Streaming services, music subscriptions, cloud storage. I changed passwords. I logged out devices. I transferred utilities to her email where possible. For the ones I couldn't transfer, I scheduled shut-off dates. I left her the instructions. Again, not emotional, just practical. If she wanted to live her exciting life, she could handle the boring parts too. The lease was the tricky part, but I called the leasing office and asked what my options were. They told me the truth. Unless she agreed, I was still on the hook. So I sent her a short text that said, I'm emailing you a roommate release form. Please sign it. No argument, no feelings. She didn't reply, but I saw the read receipt. By Sunday evening, I moved my things into a small storage unit and checked into an extended stay hotel. It wasn't glamorous. It smelled like cleaning chemicals and old carpet, but it was quiet, and I slept like someone whose body finally stopped bracing for disrespect. Before I left the apartment for the final time, I wrote one note. I didn't write a paragraph. I didn't write a speech. I wrote one sentence because I wanted it to hit like a door closing. I left it on the counter next to the key. The joke's done, so are we. Then I left. The next morning I called my manager and asked about a transfer I'd been eligible for. I'd hesitated before because Leela wanted me anchored, but now I had nothing holding me there. My manager said yes faster than I expected. 2 weeks later, I was in a different state in a smaller apartment starting over. It was scary, but it was also clean. No constant suspicion. No constant second-guessing. No being told my feelings were a character flaw. I blocked Leela on social media. I didn't post about it. I didn't send mutual friends long explanations. I just went quiet. I let the absence speak. And that's what she couldn't handle. Because 2 days after she dumped me, she brought Mason to the apartment, expecting me to be there, expecting a confrontation, expecting to feel powerful standing between two men. Instead, she opened the door to empty closets, missing furniture, and silence. No Alex, no couch, no awkward clear the air, just a half-empty apartment and a note. A friend told me she freaked out, screaming that I couldn't just leave like that. The irony was almost funny. She wanted to treat me like a piece of furniture she could store on the couch until she decided what to do. She wanted to keep the stability while she chased excitement. She wanted me available. And I removed myself from the equation. At first, her relationship with Mason looked like the flashy fantasy she'd sold. They posted photos constantly. Concerts, weekend trips, dinners, captions full of inside jokes and ring emojis. It didn't bother me the way it might have months earlier. It mostly made me feel relieved, like I escaped a reality show that never stopped filming. Then the updates started coming, not because I asked, but because people talk. Mutual friends would text me small things like, "Hey man, just FYI, she's with that guy now," and I'd respond politely and move on. I didn't want to be the guy obsessed with his ex's downfall. I wanted peace. But the downfall happened anyway. It turns out Mason wasn't a spontaneous dream. He was just impulsive. There's a difference. Spontaneous people can still be responsible. Impulsive people just chase dopamine. And once the stolen love thrill wore off, real life showed up. Bills, chores, routine, responsibilities. The exact things she hated when they came from me. Mason moved into the apartment quickly. Then he was suddenly between gigs. Then his car needed repairs. Then he had some business idea that required money. And Layla, who used to lean on my stability while mocking it, became the provider, and she hated it. They started fighting. She posted fewer happy photos. Then she started posting vague quotes about protecting your peace and knowing your worth. The same people who cheered her work wifey jokes were now quietly watching her messy reality unfold. The biggest shift happened when Mason did to her what she did to me. He started flirting with someone else. He started texting another woman late at night. And when Leela confronted him, he called her insecure. He called her controlling. He told her she was paranoid. He accused her of killing the vibe. He used the same script because people like him always have the same script. She found out he'd been cheating, not emotional cheating, not just jokes, real cheating. And when she finally caught him, he didn't apologize. He left. He bounced. He vanished the way a guy vanishes when he's not actually invested. He was just enjoying the thrill and the benefits. He left her with unpaid bills, the lease, and a bruised ego. And suddenly my predictable vibe didn't look so boring. That's when she tried to come back. It started with messages from unknown numbers because I had her blocked. "Hey, it's me. Alex, please. Can we talk?" I didn't respond. Then calls, voicemails where her voice sounded shaky but still had that familiar layer of performance. "I made a mistake. He wasn't who I thought. I miss you. You're the real deal." The moment she called me the real deal, I actually laughed out loud. Not because it was funny, but because the hypocrisy was so clean. She discarded me for excitement and came back for stability. Then she escalated and showed up. One night my doorbell rang. I opened the door cautiously and there she was, eyes red, makeup smudged, looking smaller than I remembered. She tried to step forward like she still belonged there. "Alex," she said like she was relieved. "Thank God." I stayed in the doorway. "What do you want?" She started spilling everything. How Mason used her, how he cheated, how she was broke, how she couldn't focus at work, how she lost her job, how she was drowning. And the whole time she talked, what I heard underneath it was this: she wasn't sorry for what she did to me. She was sorry it didn't work out for her. Then she said, "Please give us another chance. I'll change, I swear." I looked at her and said calmly, "So you want the stable guy now that your exciting guy destroyed your life?" She flinched and tried to pivot. "That's not fair." I said, "You told me I was boring. You told me the spark was gone. You tried to make me sleep on the couch while you brought him into our home." She cried, then she got angry, then she got manipulative. The cycle was almost predictable. "You left without a fight. You ghosted me. You're punishing me." And that was when I realized she was still trying to make me the villain, even now, even after everything. So I said, "I'm not punishing you. I'm choosing myself." Then I closed the door. I thought that would be it, but of course it was. She started recruiting people. Her sister called and told me to man up and forgive. One of her friends messaged me like I owed her redemption. Her mom emailed some long paragraph about how Leela was struggling and I should be a good person. It was like they all believed my role was to be her safety net forever. I blocked them too. Months passed. My life stabilized in the new city. I focused on work. I built new routines. I started hiking on weekends. I joined a local gym. I went to a few meetups. I didn't become some new person overnight, but I became calmer. I didn't feel like I was constantly being tested. And in that calm, I realized how tense I'd been for months, always trying to prove I was enough for someone who wanted to be impressed more than she wanted to be loved. Eventually, I started dating again. Not because I needed a replacement, but because I finally felt open. I met Mara at a friend's birthday dinner. She was warm and steady, the kind of woman who didn't perform affection for an audience. She was private, kind, and direct. No games, no power plays. The more time I spent with her, the more I realized how exhausting my last relationship was. Then came the wedding. One of my old friends got married and I flew back for it. I debated going because I knew Leela might be there, but I refused to let her control my life. I went with Mara. We dressed up, we showed up, we celebrated, and for the first hour it was great. Then I saw Leela walk in. She looked different, not just physically, though she looked tired. It was more like her energy was off. Like someone who used to live for attention walked into a room and realized the spotlight wasn't automatic anymore. She scanned the room, saw me, and her face tightened when she saw Mara next to me. Later in the night, Leela approached the bar where we were standing. She tried to smile like she was being mature. "Alex," she said softly, "can we talk alone?" Mara squeezed my hand gently. She didn't say anything, but her presence gave me this quiet confidence. I said, "There's nothing to talk about." Leela's eyes flicked to Mara. "Who is she?" "My girlfriend," I said. You could see the reality hit her like a wave. Not because she still loved me, but because she hated seeing consequences. She hated seeing me not waiting. She tried again. "I've changed, I'm in therapy, I've been working on myself. Mason was abusive, he destroyed me, I see everything clearly now. You were always the one." Always the one, like I was a prize she forgot on a shelf. I looked at her and I felt something I didn't expect. Nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, just distance. Like hearing from someone who used to be important but now isn't part of your life. So I said, "That's your story, not mine." She blinked fast, trying not to cry. "So that's it, after everything, you're just cold." I said, "I'm not cold, I'm done." Then I turned back to Mara, and we walked away. That was the last time I spoke to Leela. And honestly, that's the real ending. Not the karma, not the wedding, not the dramatic note. The ending is the quiet peace you get when you stop trying to prove your value to someone who only notices value when it benefits them. The ending is realizing you don't need the last word, because your absence is the last word. And if anyone listening is stuck in that situation where your partner is telling you that you're insecure for having normal boundaries, or they're calling you controlling for asking basic respect, hear me clearly. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not too sensitive. You're responding to disrespect. The only reason they want you to doubt yourself is because doubt keeps you in place. Certainty makes you leave. And leaving, quietly and completely, is the one thing people like that never expect.